Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Steve.
Let's all take a big, deep Shabbat breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. Let all that schmutz go from the week that's built up in our souls.
Soul schmutz.
So much schmutz. And let's sing together to welcome Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Let's do that again. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha Elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha Elyon. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. It's good to give thanks, to give praise, and sing songs to your name, Holy One. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So nice to be here with all of you on this Shabbat evening. It is, I don't know if you are feeling also like the whole world feels different when the leaves look like this, but every time I walk outside, I just am so aware of fall and that fall is coming and that leaves are crunching and the whole world feels different. It's cool. It helps us notice and pay attention, and that's part of the point of Shabbat. So take one more big deep breath with me. Yeah, it's good. Two housekeeping things before we begin. Number one, I ask you to please make sure that you are wearing masks, that you leave them on over your nose and your mouth at all times while we are in here. It's what makes us safe enough to continue gathering, which I certainly want to keep doing. If you need a mask, we have extras, so you are welcome to run in the back, and Francie will help you find one. If you have a cell phone on you, I will ask you kindly to turn it on silent, airplane mode, do not disturb. You can choose, as long as it does not participate in our service tonight. And finally, everybody turn around and look at that camera right there in the middle on that post and wave hello and say Shabbat Shalom.
Should we maybe introduce ourselves?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think, well, most of these people probably know who we are.
I think
maybe
we
not
should do
everyone
that.
does. And there's people, tuned in from all over the
It's
world.
the end of a very long week. This is going to be fun. So we're so grateful that everyone is joining us from far and near. I'm Rabbi Emily Hyatt.
And I'm Steve Brodsky, Cantorial Soloist here.
Ken Mervine, our accompanist, an amazing, everything. And we're so happy. I just brush right past that. Anything else that I missed?
I don't think
I think we got it. All right. With that, is Dahlia here? I don't think Dahlia's here yet.
It doesn't look like it.
Okay, great. So we're going to light our Shabbat candles.
There you go. Let's sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And with that extra light in this beautiful sanctuary, we begin with a prayer. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life.
Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing a new song unto God.
This may be, just seasonally speaking, one of the only times, because the time is going to change soon, when we are actually at the cusp of Shabbat. This is like the perfect time, and you can see in the windows that it's not quite dark yet. There's still light coming in through the stained glass, but we're getting close. And that is this moment, right? That's the moment of waiting for Shabbat, of Lecha Dodi. Let us prepare to welcome in Shabbat. So let's do it in the right moment with all of this light tonight.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Once more, lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmianu el ha-meyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litzilah. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor ha-baracha merosh mikadem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech kumi ori. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. I invite you to rise as you are able and turn and face the entrance to our sanctuary as we welcome together the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'tzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu.
Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love.
Love abundant, love unstinting. Our God, you have enfolded us in love. Tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Our praise to you, Adonai, you have singled out your people Israel with love.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta. We are loved, 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 by unending love and unending love. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated.
We join together in chanting Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu
Hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi metzavecha
hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths together? We continue to walk here now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow, I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds him up. Blessed is the source of help, so often unexpected. I step forward, the sea is vast. Blessed are you, gracious one, for your miracles that greet us every day.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef elel. Let's sing that again. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef eleh. And the river is wide, and the river is deep, and the river is standing between you and me, and freedom, but we shall overcome one day. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef eleh. And the river is fierce, and the river is hate, and the river is standing between us and the gates of freedom, but we shall overcome one day. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef eleh. And the river divides, and the river forgives, and the river's a wall, and the river's a bridge to freedom, but we shall overcome one. Freedom, but we shall overcome one day. We shall overcome one day.
May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May this night spread over us a canopy of calm, lifted by the blessing of rest. There will come a time when the morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. There will come a dawn to rejoice in the peace of mind, heart, and being. Praised are you, the source of renewal within us, for the night's rest and for the promise of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Ve'amidenu shomreinu, l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Ve'amidenu shomreinu, l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, ve'amidenu mashomreinu. Tishbitenu L'chaim, L'chaim. May you shelter us in peace until the morning comes. May you lay us down with love, and may you raise us up. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu chomreinu l'chaim, l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu chomreinu l'chaim, l'chaim.
There is a chain of both unimaginable delicacy and infinite strength, bound 13 times from head to heart to hands to you. It stretches further back than time until it reaches those who first cried out your name. I see them in the mirror, hear their voices in the night. I feel their joy and taste what they found bitter, as if it were iron on my tongue. Together we are whole. Together we remember. And so we sing your praises. We rise as we are able for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Open up my lips and let my mouth declare your praises. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take a moment now for silent prayer. You may stand or sit, whatever feels comfortable to you.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו.
We arrive now at our Torah service, and I am going to invite, surprise to you, Dahlia up to help me for just a second. Dahlia is becoming B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow, and we wish you and your family a big, giant mazel tov, and you can help me open the ark and take out the Torah today. So I invite you to please rise as you are able.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Kol hanshama tehallel Yah. Hallelu, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehallel Yah. Hallelu, hallelujah. I'll help you clean up here
I
a
mean,
little
you
bit.
do you. Got a lot of stuff up here. But before we read from the Torah, as usual, we are going to talk a little bit about this week's Parsha. We are in Parashat Vayeira, and we are deep in the story of Abraham. And the previous Parsha leaves us at it's not a cliffhanger, but it's kind of like a weird place to stop the Parsha, because at the end of the Parsha that comes right before this, we learn that Abraham circumcises himself. And then the Parsha ends, and then we come back in this week's Parsha, and we just keep going. And wow, what an experience that must have been. And what happens is that at the beginning of this week's Parsha, here's what it says. It says, God appeared to him, to Abraham, by the terebinths of Mamre. What is a terebinth? I have no idea. But he's sitting there by Mamre, and he's sitting at the entrance to his tent, and the day is growing hot. And in theory, according to our sages, he is not feeling well. Okay. Looking up, Abraham sees 3 men standing near him. And as soon as he sees them, he runs. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm also reading Torah text to you. He runs from the entrance of the tent to greet them and bows to the ground. Keep in mind, there's no Advil. He is unanesthetized, we are assuming. So he is really probably quite uncomfortable. And our sages says that not much time has passed since the end of the last Parsha and the beginning of this Parsha. And he says he bows to the ground after he runs. It is clear, he runs to greet them. And he says, my lords, if it please you, please do not go on past me, your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under this tree. Let me fetch you a morsel of bread so that you may refresh yourselves, and then you will go on, seeing that you have passed my way, your servant's way. And they replied, okay, do as you have said. And so Abraham hastens into his tent to Sarah and says, quick, 3 seahs of choice flour, knead and make cakes. And she does. And Abraham runs to the herd, and he takes a calf that is tender and choice, and he gives it to a servant boy who hastens to prepare it. And he takes the curds and the milk and the calf that had been prepared, and he sets this before them, and he waits on them under the tree as they eat. That's the beginning of the Parsha. So Abraham gets up in a moment that probably is not comfortable to get up, and he is very excited to greet these guests. And of course, there are interesting things that happen, and our sages notice that there are some anomalies in the text. And one of them is this line. It says, Yukachna me'at mayim. Let a little water be brought. Let a little water be brought. And he makes a feast for these people, right? He's so excited. He runs to greet them, and he makes for them a feast. So why a little water? Our sages tell us that actually what's happening is that these people have been walking through the desert. We are 3,500 years ago. They are not wearing like army certified combat boots. They're covered in dust and sand and funk and who knows what else. And he wants to wash them and bring them comfort in this moment. Let a little water be brought. And so what do our sages teach us about that? It's almost unanimous, actually. There's not very many opinions. There is a general agreement that this has only one meaning. And the meaning that this has is that Abraham knows that he's not the guy that gets the water. There's a servant that gets the water. And so he says, let's make the cake. Let's take the calf and let's slaughter and let's make the meal and let's make the feast and I will run. But schlepping water is hard and the day is hot. Don't bring more than we absolutely need because the servant, whoever's going to go and get the water you can't ask them to bring an enormous amount of water to bathe, every part of these three people. Let's just bring a little water. And it's interesting that our sages are so conscious. They say that Abraham is so conscious of the impact that his requests and his orders have on others. And so he doesn't want to burden them. He doesn't want to make them do something that is too much, too hard. The other thing that I notice about this moment in the text is certainly that even here, this early, there is something important about washing with water. That the water has this cleansing effect and somehow is going to make not only relaxation and cleanliness, but going to make meaning for the guests that are coming to stay. And I immediately think, of course, you might have heard me talk about this or been to a class because I have taught a lot of classes in the last year and a half about the mikveh, which is a spiritual bath in Jewish tradition that goes all the way back to the beginning of history, all the way back, in fact, before this, to Genesis in creation, when we're telling the story of how the world is created, and it says ulamikveh hamayim, that the waters were gathered into the seas. The mikveh is that same word, the gathering of water. And we know that water has these incredible spiritual properties and that water helps us transform and cleanse and change and become and get through. And so, in case you haven't been to a class that I've taught on the mikveh, which is totally fine, we're building a new mikveh, and that's why I've been teaching so much about the mikveh. We're building a new mikveh on this side of town in East Denver. We don't have one. And for many of you who I know have been to the mikveh, because some of you I've been to the mikveh with, or some of you I'm going to the mikveh with shortly, it's a really important part of the process of conversion. It's a really important part of the process of often getting married. It becomes a part of the process of a whole lot of things that we do in life if we want to use that water. We teach that spirituality, the core of that word, is a ritual. Sometimes when you're having a moment where you need spiritual transformation or you need spiritual healing, you can't do it without doing something. You have to do something. We have to have a ritual. We have to do an action with ourselves in order to get to that place where we can have that spiritual hurdle, where we can change or transform or become. And so we're building this new mikveh really close to here on the east side of town, and it's about water, right? About this life force of water. So here's what's going on with the mikveh: is that it's going to be done November 22nd. Is our construction completion date for this mikveh that we're building. But here's what's really cool about it, is that November 22nd is not the day the mikveh opens. As soon as the construction is complete and everybody takes, a big deep breath and a step away and everything is cleared out and it's ready to open, then we wait. Because a mikveh is filled with living water that has to come from a natural rain source, and all of the wells that are built above and below the mikveh that fill the mikveh with that living water, it's like a few percent living water, mostly chlorinated, brominated, clean water. Don't worry. But we have to have the living water to put into the mikveh so that it is a certain percentage of it. And so we finish the mikveh, we complete construction, everybody takes a deep breath and backs away, and then we wait for it to rain. And as soon as it rains enough to fill the wells, the borot, then we can use the mikveh. And so you might have noticed if you come to services often that we say morid hatal in the summer, that means let the dew fall, and we say mashiv haruach umorid hagashem in the winter, that means let the wind blow and the rains fall, because this is the rainy season. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe we're going to get rain. But here's the other thing I have to tell you about the mikveh. I have to tell you a story that just happened. Recently, so we're building the mikveh. It costs a lot of money to build anything, but especially a mikveh, because there's all kinds of crazy construction things that happen. And recently, we had an experience. And the experience is that there is a mikveh building fund organization that does this, that builds mikvahs in communities, and they give money for it. And we got a grant from this organization, very exciting, and then they discovered something. And what they discovered is, and we had been transparent about it, but here's the thing about this mikveh that we're building. It is a pluralistic mikveh. It's a community mikveh. It is being built by the Orthodox community and by the rest of the community. And so I am super involved. A bunch of the other clergy are really involved. A bunch of our community members and organizations are incredibly involved in building this mikveh, and it is for us. We get to be in on the design. We get to be in on the rules. We get to be in on the operations. We're a part of it. We're fundraising for it, all of the stuff. And that is, as far as we know, the first of its kind in the country. There are many pluralistic mikvahs that non-Orthodox people use. But there's not any mikvahs that are for the Orthodox community and the non-Orthodox community simultaneously in partnership. So here's what happened, is that it became clear that this organization that was giving grants, who I don't blame even one tiny little bit, and whom I am not even a tiny little bit angry, let me be clear, could not give us the grant because of the nature of the mikveh, because it's a community mikveh. I'm not mad. They're exactly who they are. This is the first time this has ever happened. They tried. They asked us to appeal the decision so that we could teach about what this mikveh was going to look like. And at the end of the day, they're responsible to funders, and it was what it was. And I am not the least bit mad. It could not have been handled with more grace and love than it was, even though it didn't come down in the way that we wanted. But now we're left trying to make up this difference, this money that we thought we had that was going to come from this organization, and it's not. And it turns out that now, all of a sudden, this mikveh that we're building is not just about the power of mikveh. This mikveh that we're building is about the power of community. It's about the power of what it means to be in a special community where we are doing something together a little unanticipated, where we are all responsible for working together as a community from very different ideologies and synagogues, and we're all doing really different things tonight, right? It looks really different here than it does in some of the other synagogues, and we are all invested in this one project. And I cannot help but think about Abraham, who says, "Let a little water be brought." None of us can carry a project like this on our own backs. Not one person, not one synagogue, not one denomination. And yet the whole community, if we each bring a little water, all of a sudden we have an enormous amount of support and beauty and something really special that we can use, where we make new Jews, where we celebrate life cycle events, where we mourn periods of grieving, where we deal with diagnoses and hard moments and life cycle changes. And it's for us. And so as we are praying this year, let a little water be brought, right? Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Let the winds blow and the rains fall. Let it happen. Maybe it's not all let the rains fall. It's let everybody bring a little bit of water to build this thing, to work together, to support it. And so I'm sharing this with you both because it's really important to me. And I'm so proud of what it is that we're doing and what I've been able to be a part of. And if it's interesting to you and you want to know more, let me know. But I'm also sharing this with you because it turns out that this same phrase that was relevant to Abraham so long ago, that water is brought and that we use the water to purify ourselves, to make ourselves holy, to get through moments of transition, it's still relevant. We still use the water. We still need the water. And so if nothing else, thank you for being here tonight to join me in the last prayer that we said, the Amidah prayer, the Tefillah prayer, where we said, Mashiv Haruach Umarid Hagashem, because at some point, it's October 22nd, at some point, the rain is going to fall, the snow is going to fall, it's going to melt, and we're going to have a beautiful new mikveh to use right in our neighborhood, which is really, really special. So if you are interested and want to know more, let me know. Shabbat Shalom. And with that, it is my great honor to call a number of people to help us with our Torah service this evening. We are going to call up the Shepner family. Well, not all of you. Dahlia, you can stay right where you are because you're off the hook till tomorrow. But I'm going to call up Audrey and Will, Dahlia's parents, who are going to come up and say the blessing over the Torah reading. And I am going to call up the one and only Howard Boygan, who is going to be chanting Torah for us this evening and will be chanting again tomorrow morning in case you just can't miss it, and will also be delivering a Devar Torah, words of his own Torah. So come on up, Howard. If you are following along in a Torah book, which you do not have to be doing, they are in the back. I think they might not be, but we are in Genesis chapter 21, verse 5 through 15 on page 132. We have a whole system here.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Whoops. Yep. Where am I? Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We're getting used to our new
Yeah, I don't see it.
So we're a little bit into it. So we're looking for Abraham and Matt. Is that where we start?
I'm in the middle. Yeah, Abraham.
Please hold.
Here it is. Take this off. Amen. V'Avraham ben Ma'at Shana v'hivaled lo et Yitzchak beno v'tomer Sarah tzechok asali Elohim lo hashamea Yitzchak li v'tomer mi milel Avraham Heni kavanim Sarah ki aldati vein liskunav vayigdal hayeled vayigmel vayalash Avraham mishtagado vayom higmel et Yitzchak v'tera Sarah et ben Hagar hamitzrit Asher yaldal Avraham mitzachek v'tomer la'Avraham garesh ha'ama hazot ve'et bena ki lo yarash ben ha'ama hazot im benihi im Yitzchak V'yera hadavar me'od beinecha v'Avraham al odot beno. Vayomer Elohim el Avraham el Yera beinecha al hanar ve'el amatecha kol asher ta'amar elecha Sarah Shama bekola ki v'yitzchak yakare lecha zara v'gam et bein ha'ama legoy asimenu ki zaracha hu vayashkem Avraham baboker vayikach lechem v'chemat mayim v'yitein el hagar sihim al shikma v'et hayeled v'yishlacheha v'telech v'teta b'midbar be'er shava.
Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter. All who hear will laugh with me." And she added, "Who would have dared to say, Abraham, Sarah shall nurse children? Who would have dared to say to Abraham, Sarah shall nurse children? Yet I have borne a son in his old age." The child grew and was weaned, and on Isaac's weaning day, Abraham held a great feast. Now Sarah saw the son that Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham playing. She said to Abraham, "Throw this slave girl and her son out. The son of this slave girl is not going to share in the inheritance of my son Isaac." This grieved Abraham greatly on account of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be grieved over the boy or your slave. Do whatever Sarah tells you, for it is through Isaac that offspring shall be called yours. Yet I will also make a nation out of the children of the slave's son, for he too is your offspring." Early the next morning, Abraham got up and took bread and a water skin and handed them to Hagar, placing them and the boy on her shoulder. Then he cast her out. Trudging away, she wandered aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Mazel tov to both of you on this exciting B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow. Thank you, Yasher Koach, Howard. Everybody can head back to their seats, because we take one more minute while the Torah is in front of us to say the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing. And as always, there's a pause in between the verses of this prayer where we invite you, in addition to the names that we will read, to share any names that are in your heart or mind that you would like to share as well.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Lavoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
Today we are praying for Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, Stuart Myers, Catherine Plus, Jean Silber, Scott Englander, Stacy Hoffman, Brian John Miller, Phyllis Schulman, James Tepper, Alan Davidson, Donald Gross, Douglas Hamilton, Ira Levine, Sherry Abramovitz, Richard Seedroff, David Freed, Selma Sladek, Marshall Tobin, Lai Tek Teo, Norm Evidon, Shanti Khazan, Alex Busnevetsky, Lori Goldman, Larry Ambrose, Laura Culver, Sylvia Goodman, Jerry Luckton, Ernie Stone, Carol Weiner, Jared Siegel, Arnold Brodsky, Shirley Barton, Robin Huss, Ann Clark, Cyril Beinhorn, Joseph Levy, Frank Schneider, Yana Vishnitsky, and Isabel Echeverrias. If there are other names that you would like to share, I invite you to say them out loud as we move across the room. If you're at home, type them in on Facebook, hold them in your heart, say them out loud so we can hold your loved ones with you. Baruch atah Adonai makor harefuah. Blessed are you, Adonai, the source of all healing.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
And with that, we prepare to return the Torah to the ark, to lift and dress this Torah scroll so that we can put it back. I invite Dahlia to return to the bima to help, and I invite the rest of you to rise as you are able.
V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai. It's Chaim Lamachazikim Ba V'tomchecha Nerusha Zerachecha Darchei Noam V'chol Netivottecha Shalom Hashiveinu Adonai Elecha V'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu Kekadem.
We remain standing for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'ateit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh haratzot, velo samanu kemishmechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamon.
You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And so we call into this space the names of those that we have lost, both recently and in years past. First, those that we have lost in the last week, Jerry Goldberg and Jennifer Brynan. Those that we have lost in the last 30 days, Seymour Ruby Rubenstein and Deborah Alenikoff. And those for whom this Shabbat marks the Yortzeit, or the anniversary of their passing, Morris A. Abramson, Reuben Axelrod, Robert Baum, Tatiana Bederach, Dr. David M. Barenbeim, Sylvia Bernstein, Gertrude Simon Bittman, Sydney Nelson Black, Erwin F. Blank, Andy S. Boxer, Anthony John Cook, Martin Fish, Oscar Galanter, Saul M. Gilbert, Julius Gilman, Norman Gluck, Lassie Goldberg, Max Goldberg, Louis B. Goldberg, Fred Goldsmith, Julie Ann Goralnik, Samuel Kaminsky, Susan Kaufman, Marcus S. K., A. Taya Klein, Jess R. Kortz, Lily Levine, Dr. Edward M. Lipan, Helene S. Love, Connie Hilb Lundquist, Selma H. Menachoff, Ida L. Meyer, Donald H. Meyer, Dora Mintz, Paul Moore, Norton Nelson, Myron Bud Newstetter, Anna Newlander, Herbert A. Patterson, Cecilia R. Pelton, Herbert Pelton, Gus Rechnitz, Steve Sim Roberts, Marlene Rosenberg, Samuel G. Rosenthal, Maury A. Samuelson, Lester Schlesinger, Esther Schwartz, Philip Scheiman, Stephen I. Shaner, Oscar M. Scher, Ruth K. Schwader, Lila Siegel, Rosa Simon, Solomon Spitz, Dr. C. D. Spivak, Sally G. Stern, Louis Stern, Dorothy Stoyer, Erwin J. Stryker, Sam Stuhlbarg, Harold Surrey, Joseph A. Teichert, Ruth Tavel, Barry Jean Trevithick, Douglas Wagner, Janice Lynn Yale, Judge Gilbert B. Yarchever, Martin Ziegler. And we add 10 more names, 10 of those from the city of Colleen, for whom our Finer Chapel is dedicated: Milan Kornfeld, Milos Kornfeld, Kamila Kornfeldova, Renata Kornfeldova, Ludwig Koser, Jindrik Kraus, Yuri Kraus, Robert Kraus, Berta Krausova, and Marta Krausova. If there are other names that you are saying on this Shabbat evening, as we say Kaddish, I invite you to say them out loud as we go from one side of the room to the next. If you're at home, type them in, hold them in your heart, say them out loud in your home. And our custom is that we don't just honor the memories of those that we have lost, we also take a moment to stand with and send love to our mourners. And so if you are in the first 30 days after the loss of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And if you're in the first year of mourning after the loss of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And if this Shabbat marks for you the Yortzeit, or the anniversary of the passing of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And now we all rise as we can, and we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam ule'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran ve'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen.
Zichronam livracha, we remember them. Zichronam livracha, we remember them.
You may be seated. Just a few announcements before we close out our service. The magic of Shabbat continues tomorrow. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, George Borman is becoming bar mitzvah. That will be in the sanctuary here or on channel 2 of our website, live streamed on our Facebook B'nai Mitzvah page. That is with Steve and Rabbi Black. Torah study is at 9:30 with Cantor Sachs. That is either on Zoom if you have registered. You could always email me if you want the link, or you can watch on Facebook or on the website on Channel 1. Community service will be taking place at 11 o'clock a.m. in the chapel with Cantor Sachs and Rabbi Black, also on Channel 1. And B'nai Mitzvah of Dahlia Shepner. Dun, dun, dun. We're very excited to celebrate with you at 11:30 in here with myself and Steve. That is just Shabbat. The magic continues this weekend because on Sunday we have the inaugural event of the Michael Schatz Memorial Lecture Series, which is very exciting. This has been in the works for a long time, and it's a really, really beautiful gift to our community in honor of Michael Schatz. And our first guest speaker for this memorial lecture will be Rabbi Steve Leader from Wilshire Boulevard Temple in LA. If you have not heard him speak, he is fabulous and also a little bit irreverent, but also brilliant, which is an awesome combination of things to hear from a person. And it's 5 p.m. on Sunday. It will be both in person and streamed, I believe. And you should register if you want to be here. We would love to have you. If you have any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, check your e-notes, check the website, check Facebook. Things are coming all the time. We're planning Hanukkah. We just put a meeting on the calendar for Purim. You guys, it never ends. So buckle up, because there's all kinds of other things that are coming in the weeks to come. And with that,
Dahlia, please join us on the bima as we sanctify Shabbat with Kiddush and Hamotzi so that you can all go eat dinner following the service.
and here, hold this.
Are you ready? The words are right here to follow along with. Here, use this one. Ready? Hold it up high. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit
Ki hu
yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
Amen. L'chaim.
It's juice. I hope.
It's juice.
Is that you?
Was that Micah?
One time there's wine in the glasses and you never forget it.
You should've
Never let you live
He
it
made
down.
the best face, though, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
He did not like it. Thank you. We're so excited to celebrate with you tomorrow, Dahlia. Oh, before we let you go, let's do hamotzi, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
It's a real challah, you guys.
We should take it out of its protective sanitary wrapping, though, because...
You got a lot of demands here.
Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Should I just hand Dahlia a whole challah?
It's
Take
all
that
yours. Take it to
Take
your
this?
family
and take the challah.
and celebrate.
Oh, don't take it. She's allergic.
Oh, okay. We'll
Mazel
auction
tov.
off the
Thank
challah
you.
after the service.
Who-
If you make a donation to the mikveh, you get a challah. How's that?
I didn't say it, you did.
All right, we're going to conclude by singing Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. Come, let us sing together a song of praise to God. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha, may it be your will, God, that we have a million projects in our community, that we have so many things to build together, that the spirit of pluralism becomes the spirit with which we do everything, with every step we take and path we go down and building we build. May we do it together with just a little bit of that water each, so that at the end of the day, each of us has the opportunity to be clean and refreshed and purified and ready for what the next week may bring them. And so we ask your blessing, God, tatzidenu l'shalom. May our steps be steps of peace, and may they be steps that we take together as a community. Tadrichenu l'shalom. May our paths be paths of peace as we say together, Amen.
Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody wave to the camera back there. Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
Shalom.